What do you reckon would happen if you two swapped hats? That's not happening. Nope. Come on, just swap it. What's the worst that could happen? I am never without my hat. Walk away. Well, for one, you have several hats. And secondly, if I can be seen without my drink, then clearly the hats aren't that necessary. You first, then. So you did it. Now, hats. Oh, that doesn't count. Look, just swap the damn hats. Hey, will you? Oh, the damn hats. That wasn't so bad, was it? I don't know how I feel about this. Somebody poisoned the water hole. Okay, this is mine. Drink up. The power of our variance lies not within ourselves, yet within our accoutrement. This changes everything. It's all a lie. Ooh, alcohol.
Hey, now get your boots, hang your coat for this
Dungeons and Dragons.
a phone just for pictures of this.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Make it rain if you wanna see some.
Dungeons and Dragons. After falling from a tower, surviving a terrorist attack, and entering into home ownership, one would assume the Dragnanigans are quite spent.
Appalachians, you own everything. Appalachians, you earn everything.
But with Rick barely recovered from dying, and Lokiana being played this week by Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, they decide to follow up on Lothrin's request to visit them in Eden City. Before leaving town, however, Kaisan pays a visit to the docks and notices a lot of military folk moving around. War seems imminent. Kale, the half-orc, confirms the fireworks were purchased from Poven by the Master of Trade, and that there was a contract with the Valana sisters. Any ships heading out into open waters have to deal with an Edenorian blockade, which makes passage difficult as ships are getting conscripted. Kaisan notes that there are a lot of sailors that seem to worship Kord, but this isn't worrying despite the ties to Zelmadar, as a lot of sailors worship the god of storms. Before we leave, we check for any fetch quests that might interest us. Odeon meets Micah at the garrison when checking. Micah was the guard tasked with taking Lano to Araton from Whitewater, but has been demoted to desk duty since Lano escaped. Odeon seems especially drawn to fighting the Rock, but after convincing him that's utterly batshit crazy, we agree and leave to focus on the plot. We leave Araton, travelling through the hills. On watch, Juno leaves Pia a voicemail, letting her know about the attack and that she's okay. Pia, however, doesn't respond. Lokiana takes a watch as well, even though she seems a rudderless husk. Kaisan takes the third watch, leaving his dog Veruno to watch for him. He feels Melora's presence and is comforted a little. Rick takes the lead the next day and realises they are slightly off path. Adjusting their course, they manage to avoid a troop of military soldiers, mobilising to the south. At camp for the night, Rick takes watch and hears some noises.
Not this.
And spends some time with his two pets, Urfix the pseudo-dragon and Carol the tiger. Carol bites him. He blames Garen. He thinks about his connection to Leah. His faith is shaken, but after all the Poven connections in the previous episode, he recognises that he should head in that direction. Odeon looks into himself on his watch in a moment of uncharacteristic introspection and feels nervous about all the magical stuff he's been exposed to.
I barely got any sleep last night. All those bad bitches you got kept you up, huh? No, it was my anxiety and depression.
We head off for another day, which we hope is uneventful, but whoops, twist in the plot, we're attacked.
I get knocked down.
Lokiana shouts, "Everybody duck," and most everyone does, but Rick, perhaps forgetting that he almost died.
Splits, high kicks, death drops, jumps. I do none of it.
He takes a couple of arrows. Coming over the hill are a group of hyena-like creatures that move on their hind legs.
Make me come, make me squirt, see my titties through my shirt, get me off, get me wet.
We quickly realise they are Gnolls.
What about me?
Weirder still, Rick can understand them.
That's what she said. And you know what? What was that? Okay, James.
As he overhears them say, "Get these creatures, rend their flesh." Lokiana takes a shot at the big dude and deals a bunch of damage. Odin decapitates one of the smaller Gnolls.
I got a car.
Kaisen goes through the big guy with his warhammer, and an angelic choir singing behind him explodes the Gnoll's head. The lead Gnoll, a priest, says, "You bastards could have protected me," as he dies. Having defeated them, we quickly realise the attack is odd, as Gnolls are usually scavengers and opportunists, not targeted attackers. We search their bodies and find about 150 gold.
We already committed murder. We might as well rob his ass.
We notice the priest has a necklace with a phial of dragon blood and detailed descriptions of the dragnanigans. And we quickly figure out that we're likely dealing with the horny dragon cult. Again. We arrive safely in Eden City and quickly reunite with Thorgunna at the Tipsy Turnip. After Judius's death, things went slightly crazy in Eden City, but have settled down. His estate was wiped clean, and it turns out no one really liked him anyway. Kaisen and Odians head over to the Steel Gauntlet to pick up the shield they both ordered from the neighbourhood blacksmith Theo. We then head over to Gracie's shop, the Fair Quill, and ask if we can buy any more drugs, but security has been tight and magical equipment is harder to come by with the impending war. Lokiana does manage to buy some new boots to help with her stealth though. Garen also headed to the Rose Palace to visit his employer, but he's already been mentioned once in this recap and doesn't get repeat mentions. Cowboy, can you get that? Howdy? Stinky?